young sailors, the next generation battling it out. A lot of pride on the line. A lot of yelling, here they come, no room in there. There's going to be a few protests. This is close, this is as close as it gets. And the future's looking bright. We are here at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, home of the America's Cup, but this weekend playing host to the Secondary School Keelboat National Championships, the future of New Zealand sailing. The best schools from around New Zealand have come together this weekend to race in these, the Elliott Sevens, hoping to take home the National Championships. Today is the final day, Super Sunday. It will be all on the line. But before today, we had 2 great days of qualifying, splitting out the gold and silver fleets. Let's check out how that all played out.
The Harken Secondary School's Keelboat National Championships, hosted by the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, brought together 18 teams from around the country, from as far afield as Christchurch in the south to Kerry in the north. It's been a regular on the sailing calendar since 2007 and is raced in the squadron's fleet of Elliott 7 keelboats, which can cater for crews of either 4 or 5 sailors depending on their combined weight. The 3-day regatta started with 2 days of qualifying to find the top 9 teams who would progress to the Gold Fleet, with each team's final score based on a tally of all their 6 qualifying races. And for most taking part, it was a new experience sailing in this type of boat.
All of our team has come from a dinghy racing background, sailing only single-handed or double-handed boats.
A lot of us sail 29er, which is a lot different to keelboats, so it's very new to us, but it's a lot of fun, and obviously it's very different to the skiffs.
There's no chance of capsizing. You can push the boundaries a little bit more, and it's good practice just learning how to do it with the big sails.
I've actually never trimmed a spinnaker before. I'm mainly trimming Jenicas in the 29er, so I've just basically been getting the feel for it.
The starts are a lot different as well. I've noticed you don't do as much boat handling, it's more just get off the start and go. A lot of acceleration.
We're all trying to keep learning and we're pushing each other, I reckon.
So it's pretty cool to get in these boats and work as a team really well.
If one person doesn't do their job, you all look bad. So you're always looking for ways where you can help out or chip in or anticipate issues before they've come up. And that's probably one of the big challenges. And then also you've got to sometimes bite your lip or, think about how you're going to phrase something so you don't annoy somebody, so everyone stays positive and keeps trying hard. And it's always interesting the dynamics of the different people on board about how they handle that.
Jumping on a keelboat exposes youngsters to the broad range of possibilities in the sport of sailing. New Zealand has a proud history in all aspects of the sport, parading champions in the America's Cup, the Olympics, the Ocean Race and the World Match Racing Tour. And those taking part in the school's Keelboat Nationals didn't need to go far to see where the sport could take them.
Seeing the America's Cup right here in Auckland, it's quite inspiring. It shows us what we can do with the sport in the future.
Yeah, well, this is our 150th year, so 1871 the club started. You name the trophies if someone in this club's won it. There's some big ones up there in the trophy cabinet right now. They've been there for a while and hopefully we can hold on to them a bit longer.
The Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron is not only the home of the America's Cup, the club also runs a programme for young keelboat sailors. The youth training scheme producing a raft of top sailors including Phil Robertson, Bianca Cook, Adam Minoprio and Chris Steele, while many others have gone on to be professional sailors or have found careers in the marine industry. And for some, it's simply a case of remaining connected to the sport.
In the sailing world, we're fortunate. It's one of those sports that you can do for a lifetime. Unfortunately, throughout our sport, we lose people at sort of that late teenage age bracket, and we try to pick them up here to come sailing with us. It's pretty cheap. There's lots of really good resources here. We're trying to catch that, 90% of sailors who aren't necessarily at the peak of the sport going to the Olympics, but still want to be involved and have fun and get out there. Pull the number out, just drop it on the desk, let us all know what it is. Number 7.
This year's regatta featured some very talented young sailors with multiple national champions in various classes, as well as a double world champion. Windy conditions greeted the teams on both days of qualifying, which proved challenging for some, especially as it was often their first time racing in a keelboat. Setting the benchmark on the first day of racing was the Westlake Boys High School Red Team, skippered by Josh Hyde, winning 5 of the 6 races sailed. They comfortably topped the standings, finishing ahead of the second Westlake Boys team, and they were joined in the Gold Fleet by St Kentigern College Blue, Rangitoto College 1 and Kerry High School Blue. The wind was still whipping down the harbour for the second day of qualifying, testing the skills of the 8 teams taking part. In the end, the defending champions King's College went through to the Gold Fleet as top qualifiers and were joined by Takapuna Grammar Gold, Nelson College and Glendowie College. It came down to a countback to find the 4th and final team who would move through to the Gold Fleet, with Westlake girls just missing out.
Just missed out. What happened there?
We got 1/8, which just put us behind one of the other teams.
But was it a fun day anyway?
It was a fun day.
Yeah, what was the highlight?
Probably leading down from the top mark.
Did you hold the lead?
Not quite.
The Westlake girls team would have to race on the final day in the Silver Fleet, racing conditions that were dramatically different.
Qualifying is over and it comes down to this, the final day of the national champs. Gold and silver fleets have been decided. Behind me you'll see the teams going through the finishing touches, rigging up their boats before they head out on the water. So let's go have a chat. Lucy, we're heading into the final day today. You excited to get out there?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot lighter today, which is good for us because we've got quite a light group.
Yeah, tide will play quite a bit today, I reckon. It's currently going out, so it should turn around at about 12.
We need to be a lot more consistent than we were yesterday. That's one of our main goals, and have fun, yeah.
We're coming into this competition as defending champions, so, you know, there's no pressure there, I guess, but coming in today with some confidence I think is good, but, you know, don't want to get complacent.
The Silver Fleet completed their 4 races first before the Gold Fleet action, and the team from Westlake girls were motivated to do well after narrowly missing out on the top tier.
Westlake girls have found a nice little lane here off the start as they roll through attack.
The second St Kentigern College team also looked slick through their manoeuvres.
Now rolling into the tack. Holding the jib over, back up onto the other side. Great stuff there. Big cross coming up here between Rangi and Westlake girls. And it looks like Rangi will be in the lead. But there is not much in it. Westlake having to do a small dip behind there. So we'll watch that one as well when they come back together at the top mark.
It was tight at the top mark the first time round.
So at the top mark in race number 4 of the Silver Fleet, it is Rangitoto leading the way, but hot on their heels is Westlake girls.
Whangarei Boys High, who won the first 3 Silver Fleet races, started to make their way through the fleet on the downwind leg, as all of the teams wrestled with the light winds and tricky tidal conditions, but it made for an exciting finish.
So it was Rangitoto taking the win. Whangarei in second place. Westlake girls in third, but what a tight finish it is for 4th. There's 3 boats all battling it out. We've got a port starboard coming in as well. Lindisfarne coming in hot. Can Kerry get over before this? A lot of yelling. Here they come. No room in there. There's going to be a few protests. This one's going to go to the umpire. St Kent's is protesting. Kerry's protesting. Lindisfarne's protesting. There we go. Ruben Corbett, umpire, is calling Elliot 5. That's Lindisfarne College. He has penalised them.
It was a costly penalty for Lindisfarne College, who missed out on a podium spot on countback. Rangitoto College 2 were third and Takapuna Grammar School Blue second. But comfortable winners of the Silver Fleet were Whangarei Boys High School, who banked 3 wins and a second in the 4 races.
You nearly won all 4 races today. Looked like the boat was going pretty good.
Yeah, going pretty great. First 3 quite good. Last race choked a little bit on the upwind, but it's all good.
I mean, you still won. You're pretty hard on yourself if you say you choked on the last one.
We were pretty impressed. We did good teamwork well together today.
There were a number of mixed teams among the 18 taking part in the Harken Secondary Schools Keelboat National Championships and 2 all-girl teams. Sailing is one of the few sports in which males and females compete against each other, particularly at junior and youth level, and it makes for an interesting dynamic.
Being a female team, it definitely does have an impact, as we're all females, and supposedly males are stronger than females, but we've got 5 of us girls and we've all been training hard and we're all strong, and I believe we're just as good as some of the male teams because their brains don't quite engage with their bodies, so we've got the mindset and we can stay focused for a whole race, and we just hike hard and work hard and we'll be right.
Lydia Boyd is part of the Glendowie College team, but the only female.
Yeah, I get yelled at a fair bit, but I give it right back to them. So.
The opportunities for females in the sport and wider marine industry are increasing all the time. That's seen in things like gender and event equality for the 2024 Paris Olympics, as well as rules requiring females in events like the Ocean Race and Sail GP. One who already has extensive experience at a high level is Carrington Brady. The Takapuna Grammar student is the daughter of Gavin Brady, who sailed in multiple America's Cups, as well as the Olympics and the Round the World race.
I've done some sailing with my dad in TV52s, and I've done some coastal classics in the 80-footers and Mod 70s. So I've had some practice in the keelboats regarding heel angles and, trimming the spinnakers.
Carrington was also navigator on board Beau Geste when it not only won the 2019 Coastal Classic, but also set a new race record.
That was quite life-changing, yeah. It was crazy, yeah. There was people like, I had to patch up people's fingers, they caught on winches, and I was like navigating and like running up and down, the boat was going like 40 knots, it was crazy.
Brady and her Takapuna Grammar Gold team safely qualified for the Gold Fleet and went into racing on the final day with a top finish in mind. It would all come down to which team could put it all together in the final 4 races.
So on one end of the line we had Westlake Red, on the other Westlake Green. It's a battle of the 2 sides of the course, battle of the 2 Westlake teams.
Light northerly was blowing down the racecourse, which meant getting off the start line in good shape and being in sync with the wind shifts was critical. It was the Westlake Boys Green team of Braden Hamilton, Mason Mulcahy, George Lee Rush, Cam McGlashan and Ben Brighouse who jumped out of the blocks to lead at the top mark.
Westlake Green are first to the top mark in race number 1 of the Gold Fleet.
But they had a few issues with their kite drop at the bottom mark, which allowed Glendowie College to sneak ahead.
Taking their time, and they've let Glendowie squeeze through, so there's been a lead change. Glendowie now into the lead.
It was a lead they maintained for the rest of the race to open their campaign in perfect fashion.
So it's Glendowie coming around now, leading the way. Boat number 3, Glendowie College.
Westlake Boys dropped back to 5th, but they recovered well to win the second race, which meant that after 2 races it was a 3-way tie for first between the 2 Westlake Boys teams and Glendowie College. The pressure was on in the third race, and it was the 2 Westlake Boys teams who battled it out at the front of the fleet.
So it is a showdown here on board the two Westlake teams. Both have bagged 2 good races so far.
There's very little in it at the top mark for the first time round.
And it's Westlake against Westlake, boats 7 and 8, neck and neck. Westlake 7, that's Westlake Red trying to squeeze out and luff up the Westlake Green team. They've managed to do so. Who's got the better hoist tag? 8 gets it up early, doing nicely. They've got it set. Westlake Green have the protest flag up. They have asked the umpires for a call, and it's a green flag.
It was not quite such a good race for Glendowie College, and they rounded the top mark in 7th in the 9-boat fleet.
Westlake Green on camera now, under the watchful eye and control of Braden Hamilton, trying to out-duel the other Westlake boat.
The Westlake boys' red team of Josh Hyde, Ethan Fong, Zach Fong, Cody Coughlin and Corbin Redfern held the edge at the bottom mark for the first time as a shower of rain passed over the course and brought with it some more breeze.
Getting through the bottom mark nicely and extending on this upwind leg. It is Westlake Red that has built a big lead over the Westlake Green boat.
Takabuna Grammar rounded in 2nd with Westlake boys Green in 3rd place, while the rest of the fleet were tightly packed heading down the run home to the finish.
With the breeze now, we've got a bit of rain coming over the course. It's Westlake 1-2, but coming through in 3rd place, it is boat number 3, Glendowie College.
Westlake boys Red held on for the win, crossing the line in front of the Silverfleet sailors, who were admiring all the action on display. That win meant the Westlake boys Red team held a slim 1-point lead over the Westlake boys Green team heading into the 4th and final race.
Just a few points separates them at the top.
The two boats started on the pin end of the line as they kept a close eye on each other. And that continued up the first beat as the two teams jumped out to the front of the fleet. Crucially, the Green team, helmed by Braden Hamilton, got their noses in front to dictate terms over their closest rivals.
And this is the battle for the Keelboat Secondary Schools National Championships. And it is, as it has been for most of the day, the two Westlake teams that are fighting it out for first place.
The winds were sometimes light and patchy, and chop from the ferries just added to the factors teams had to consider.
Here they come, coming together, and it will be Westlake Green clear ahead of their oppositions from the same school. They've got a few waves to contend with here as the ferry comes past. It's another variable to deal with. It's Westlake Red tacking right as the waves come on by. They have just stretched this thing right out. They have a massive lead growing over Westlake Red. Their oppositions from the same school in Glendowie College. The top 3 teams are all in the top 3 in this final race.
Westlake boys Green rounded the bottom mark in 1st place and tried to make life difficult for their rivals, who were still completing the first downwind run. The windward boat of the Westlake boys Red team needed to give way to the Green team, but did this without incurring a penalty.
And And this is the battle for second place. There is nothing in it between Westlake Red and Glendowie College. They are a wee way behind Westlake Green, who has really stretched out that lead on that downwind run. Midway back through the fleet, plenty of teams coming into this bottom mark now. And Nelson College, boat number 2, with a nice rounding and drop there. Team from the South Island looking good as they come around the mark. But they've got some technical issues. It's the main sheet is caught around the back of the boat. Noah Malpop going to fix it. That will slow them down. Have they fixed it? Looks like they still might be caught. Another one's gone back to try and do it. Costly stuff. Westlake Green, boat number 8, coming around the top mark for the final time. The 4th and final race of this Gold Fleet. And it is the Westlake team that is sailing away with it. Phenomenal performance when it counts from this team.
It was a comfortable run home for Westlake Boys Green, but as they crossed the line, they still didn't know if they'd done enough to take the title or not.
And as they come up to the finish line, the hooter goes and Westlake Green takes the win. Come on, one more!
Confirmation that Westlake Boys High School Green edged out their schoolmates in the red team, taking the Harken Secondary School's Keelboat National Championships title on countback. Finishing in 3rd was Glendowie College, with Nelson College and Rangitoto College not far behind.
Well, I've jumped on board with the winning team, Westlake Green, coming from behind after 2 races, absolutely clutch in the finish. Guys, you pretty stoked?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a surprise for us. We thought we'd come second, so it was pretty awesome when you came over and told us.
Well, it doesn't get any closer than that. You had to win the last race to beat them on countback. That must feel pretty good, especially because it was the other Westlake team.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a close rivalry all weekend, so it's been pretty awesome to top them right at the end.
And are you going to rub that one in when you get to school Monday?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Celebration's gone wrong. Josh, really disappointing finish there, just getting pipped at the post, but you must be proud you sailed really well out there today.
Yeah, it was a really good day. Had a lot of close racing and some pretty good starts. It's good to have both teams up there. Haven't been training much together, but it's good to have the whole school up on the top.
Thanks Harken and all the competitors for coming down today.
Overall finishing 3rd, you must be pretty happy.
Yeah, we're really stoked with that. We thought we were going to be sort of 4th or 5th, so yeah, really nice to hear that after a hard day.
Lisa's going to hand you a prize.
It's really cool to come together in a team, especially after just doing Starling Nationals. Our whole team did Starling Nationals, obviously individually, so it's nice to be able to come together all as one.
I'd like to thank Harken for being such a great regatta, the race committee and all the volunteers who run such great racing, and all the parents and everyone for coming out and supporting us.
The sails are away and the boat covers are on for the final time here at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. The 2021 National Keelboat Champs for Secondary Schools has been another absolute ripper, and I tell you what, the future of New Zealand sailing is looking very bright. In the Silver Fleet, it was all Whangarei High School today. Absolutely stellar sailing from them, saw them take out the Silver Fleet. In the Gold Fleet, Glendowie College had a really consistent day out there. They were on the podium in 3rd. But 1st and 2nd was all about Westlake. Westlake 1 and 2, with Westlake Green edging out Westlake Red to take the national title for 2021. Thank you so much for joining us here this year, and we'll see you again soon.